The room was dark, except for the faint glow of the streetlight seeping through the blinds. I lay on my side, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rhythmic rise and fall of Mark's breathing. He was deep in sleep, unaware that my mind was racing, my heart still pounding from someone else. I turned over, pressing my face into the pillow, trying to shake the memory away. But it clung to me, warm and electric, like Ryan's hands had felt on my body just hours ago. It started 3 months ago when I joined Iron Strength Gym. I told myself I was doing it for my health, for my confidence. But deep down, I knew there was more to it. Mark had been distant, always working, always tired. Our conversations had dwindled to grocery lists and who was picking up the dry cleaning. At night, he would roll over and mumble, "Love you, babe," before drifting off, leaving me lying awake, wondering if this was what marriage was supposed to feel like. Then I met Ryan. He was everything Mark wasn't, young, energetic, and completely focused on me when I was with him. At 28, he was nearly 10 years younger than me, but the way he carried himself, the confidence in his voice, made it easy to forget. He had that kind of body that made you stare too long, muscles carved from years of training, a cocky grin that told you he knew exactly what kind of effect he had on women. At first, it was innocent. I was just another client. He pushed me hard, his deep voice guiding me through every rep. "Come on, Emily, one more. You got this." I liked how he said my name, how he made me feel strong, capable. Then came the touches. A guiding hand on my lower back, fingers grazing my wrist when he corrected my grip, the occasional brush of his leg against mine when he stood too close. Each one was subtle, but they stayed with me long after I left the gym. Today was different. "All right, last set. Give me everything you've got," Ryan said, standing behind me as I gripped the squat bar. I took a deep breath and lowered myself, feeling the burn in my thighs. My muscles trembled as I pushed back up, and suddenly, his hands were on my hips, steadying me. "Perfect," he murmured, his voice closer than it should have been. His fingers pressed lightly into my sides, firm, lingering. My breath hitched. For a split second, I forgot where I was, forgot everything except the way his touch sent a slow, dangerous heat through my body. When I finally racked the bar, I turned to face him. His eyes locked onto mine, dark and unreadable, and for a moment, neither of us moved. The air between us felt thick, charged with something I hadn't felt in years. I swallowed hard. "Thanks, coach," I said, trying to make it light, but my voice betrayed me. Ryan smirked. "Anytime, Emily." I grabbed my towel and turned away, my heart racing. I needed to leave before I did something reckless, before I gave in to the temptation curling inside me. But as I walked toward the locker room, I felt his eyes on me, and deep down I knew this wasn't over. Now, lying in bed beside my husband, I squeezed my eyes shut. I should have felt guilty. I should have been disgusted with myself for letting it get this far. But all I could think about was Ryan's hands on my body and the way, for the first time in years, I had felt truly seen. And that scared me more than anything. Have you ever felt the pull of temptation? Like and subscribe for more gripping tales of passion and desire. I told myself it wouldn't happen again. After that moment in the gym, I avoided Ryan's eyes, kept my distance. I focused on my workouts, forced my mind to stay on the routine: squats, deadlifts, lunges. But it was impossible to ignore the way my body reacted when he was near. The heat of his presence, the way his voice sent shivers down my spine. Mark barely noticed the change in me. He still kissed me goodbye in the mornings, still muttered, "Love you, babe," at night. But he never looked at me the way Ryan did. And that was how I let it happen. It was a Thursday evening, the gym quieter than usual. Most people had left for the night, and only a few stragglers remained, lifting weights in the far corner. I was finishing up on the treadmill when Ryan walked over, holding a bottle of water. "You're killing it today," he said, offering it to me. I took it, my fingers brushing his. "Thanks, coach." He smirked. "I told you, call me Ryan." I laughed softly, unscrewing the cap. "Old habits." He leaned in, his voice dropping. "I like your habits, Emily." My stomach flipped. I took a sip, trying to ignore the way his eyes traced my lips. "You up for something different tonight?" he asked. I frowned. "What do you mean?" "Late night challenge," he said, nodding toward the private training room. "No distractions. Just you and me." I hesitated. The smart thing to do was say no, to grab my bag, and leave. But my body had already made the decision before my mind could catch up. "All right," I said. The private room was dimly lit, the walls lined with mirrors. It was quieter here, away from the rest of the gym. Ryan locked the door behind us. "We'll keep it simple," he said, rolling his shoulders. "Push yourself harder than before." I nodded, my heart pounding for reasons that had nothing to do with exercise. He started me on weighted lunges, standing close, his voice steady and firm. "Deeper. Slow it down. Feel every movement." I followed his instructions, the burn in my legs mixing with something else, something dangerous. By the time we moved to core work, I was breathless, my body slick with sweat. I lay on the mat, panting, my pulse hammering. Ryan knelt beside me, his hand resting on my stomach. "Breathe," he whispered. I did, but all I could focus on was his hand, the way his fingers flexed, the heat of his skin against mine. "Emily," he murmured, his voice low, rough. I turned my head and suddenly he was closer. His face inches from mine, his breath warm against my lips. My body betrayed me. I leaned in just enough for him to close the space between us. His lips brushed against mine, soft at first, testing. When I didn't pull away, he pressed harder, his fingers gripping my waist. A low sound escaped my throat, something I hadn't let myself feel in years. Then reality crashed over me. I pulled back, scrambling to sit up. "Ryan, we can't." His hand caught mine, his grip firm, but gentle. "No one has to know," he said, his eyes dark, hungry. I shook my head, but even as I did, I knew it was a lie. I wasn't going to stop. Not now. Not after this. When a line is crossed, there's no turning back. Like and subscribe for more heart-racing stories of passion. I told myself it would be just that one time. That if I could control it, keep it buried, keep it secret, it wouldn't mean anything. I convinced myself it was just a physical need, nothing deeper, nothing dangerous. But lies have a way of unraveling. Ryan and I became experts at sneaking around. Every touch in the gym held a hidden meaning. When he adjusted my form, his fingers would graze my skin just a second too long. When I finished a set, his eyes would meet mine, dark and knowing. No one noticed, at least I thought no one did. We kept our moments contained within those walls. Until we didn't. It was a Wednesday night when I went to his apartment for the first time. Mark was on another late shift, and my hands shook as I texted Ryan. "I can come over." The reply came instantly. "I'm waiting." I almost turned the car around when I reached his building. Almost. But then I was standing in front of his door, and when he opened it, I didn't think, I just stepped inside. The moment the door shut, his hands were on me. I should have felt guilty. But all I felt was alive. The affair became a routine. A text here. A glance across the gym. An excuse to stay late. I started wearing different clothes, tighter leggings, lower cut tops. Not for Mark. For Ryan. Mark noticed the changes, but not in the way that mattered. "You've been working out a lot," he said one night as we sat on the couch. "You look good." I forced a smile. "Thanks." He kissed my forehead. "Proud of you, babe." I should have felt something. Guilt, shame. But all I felt was a strange emptiness. Because he had no idea. One night, after an evening with Ryan, my phone buzzed just as I was getting dressed. "Mark, coming home early. Can't wait to see you." Panic shot through me. I grabbed my things, nearly tripping as I pulled on my shoes. Ryan leaned against the doorway, smirking. "Relax. He won't know, but he could have." I barely made it home in time, racing inside just as Mark pulled into the driveway. I rushed to the bathroom, splashing water on my face, wiping away the evidence of another man. When I stepped out, Mark was there, watching me. "You okay?" he asked, his brow furrowing. I forced a laugh. "Yeah, just tired. Long workout." He nodded, accepting the lie. But as I walked past him, I could feel it. A shift. A crack in the surface. And I knew this wouldn't stay a secret forever. Secrets have a way of coming out. What happens next? Like and subscribe for more dramatic, heart-racing stories. Secrets never stay buried. I should have known that from the start. Maybe a part of me had wanted to get caught. Maybe I had been waiting for the moment when my double life would crumble around me. That moment came faster than I expected. It started with Ryan wanting more. "We can't keep sneaking around like this," he said one night as I lay in his bed, tangled in his sheets. I turned my head, staring at him. "You knew what this was." His jaw tightened. "Yeah? And what is it, Emily? Just a fling? Just something to pass the time?" I stayed silent because I didn't have an answer. Ryan sat up, running a hand through his hair. "I want more than stolen moments. I want you." The words should have thrilled me. Instead, they terrified me. Because I couldn't have him. Not really. I slipped out of bed, reaching for my clothes. "I should go." "That's all you ever do, isn't it?" he muttered. I ignored him. I had spent my entire life making the right choices, being the good wife, the good woman. I had already gone too far. I couldn't let this destroy everything. But it was already too late. The next evening, Mark surprised me at the gym. I was mid-workout when I saw him standing near the entrance, watching me. My heart stopped. Ryan was only a few feet away. I wiped my hands on my leggings and forced a smile. "Hey, what are you doing here?" Mark shrugged. "Thought I'd see what's been keeping you so busy." My stomach twisted. Ryan stepped forward, his face unreadable. "You must be Mark." Mark shook his hand. "Yeah. And you're Ryan, right? Emily's trainer." Ryan held his gaze for just a second too long. "That's me." Something in Mark's expression shifted. A flicker of suspicion. I needed to get out of there. Fast. "I should finish up," I said quickly, grabbing my towel. Mark nodded slowly. "Yeah. I'll wait for you." I could feel Ryan's eyes on me as I walked away, and I knew this was the beginning of the end. That night, Mark confronted me. We were in the kitchen, the air between us thick with something I had never felt before. "Are you sleeping with him?" The words hit me like a slap. I could have lied. I could have denied it, gaslit him, told him he was imagining things. But when I opened my mouth, the truth spilled out instead. "Yes." Mark's face hardened. He looked away, exhaling sharply. "How long?" I swallowed hard. "A few months." Silence stretched between us. Then his voice broke. "Why?" I didn't have an answer that would make this better. "Because I felt invisible," I whispered. Mark flinched. "And he made you feel seen?" I didn't respond. We both knew the answer. His fists clenched at his sides. "So what now, Emily? Do you love him?" Did I? I shook my head. "I don't know." Mark let out a bitter laugh. "Well, that's great. That's just fucking great." I could see it then, the cracks in our marriage splitting wide open. Maybe they had been there all along. I don't know what happens next. Maybe we try to fix this. Maybe we let it fall apart. But one thing is certain, nothing will ever be the same again.